Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Today, it's going to be another Patreon edition. If you're seeing this the week of February the 13th, then yes, you're seeing this a month before anybody else. This is an incredible replay from Katowice's group stages between Taeja and Armani here on Triton the Ladder Edition. Bottom right-hand corner, we have the blue Zerg player. He is Korean. His name is Armani. And in the top left-hand corner, we have the Korean Terran player, Taeja. Holy smokes, Taeja is trying to make his comeback in the StarCraft 2 scene, but man, he was incredible back in the day, and I fully believe he can get back to that level. We'll see how he does against a young, up-and-coming Zerg player. Armani is legit, you guys. He beat Sulky, he beat Hurricane, he all-killed a team on one of the Wardy tournaments. And I just feel like he can give Taeja everything he can handle here. Watch out, you guys. I think Armani is a young, up-and-coming Zerg player, and we'll be seeing more of him as the months and years progress. Taeja's doing a 1-Rax expand. Armani's doing a 16, 18, 17. Oh, I have to tell you a funny story. So I was playing with Somicron, doing some 3v3s out on twitch.tv/Falcon Paladin the other day, which I do a couple times a week. If you want to see me play StarCraft, that's where you gotta go for the most part, is twitch.tv/Falcon Paladin. 2 times a week there. StarCraft, 1 more time a week, something like Warcraft 3 or Warcraft 2, which has been a lot of fun. Anyway, so we're talking about build orders, and Somicron's like, I don't have a build order. And I'm like, wait, you what? How do you open? He's like, I don't know, whatever I feel like. And I'm like, are you kidding me? He's another Zerg player. He used to be Terran, but he converted to Zerg as the SCP comes down to scout out whether the Reaper can go out or not. But yeah, so I told him, what about 16, 18, 17? And he's like, I don't know what that is. And I was like, do you watch my casts at all? And it turns out, maybe he doesn't watch my casts, or maybe they're on mute, which, again, some people have said they do. But anyway, I was just shocked that anybody is watching my cast and has no idea what the 16, 18, 17 is, because by golly, I talk about it probably too much. Anyway, Reaper here, and the Reaper's name is the Bond's name, James' name. Storm's Bonk is having a strunk. Call the Bondulance. I don't know what that is. Apparently, this is the Bond's name, James' name. It's a James Bond having a stroke type situation. So yeah, the Lings are going to stay here, not go off creep. Armani knows what he's doing. His APM's like 380 right now, right around where Taeja's is. We're having a good time regardless. The Queen's going to pop out. Maybe a drone has to micro a little bit. But then the Queen's out, the Reaper has to get out. He's got a kill. He's got 1 kill, which is nice. Armani probably going to go for a 3rd base if I had to guess. And let's see, there's an Overlord. We're trying to spread some creep here, and the Reaper really wants to kill that tumor. Like, really wants to kill that tumor. But the Lings sacrifice themselves a little bit to make sure that it can't happen, and now the Reaper's going to try to deny the 3rd. I gotta say, Terran players, you gotta do this. Slowing down the landing, the creation of the 3rd base with the Reaper is an incredibly important thing to do. Look at that KD8 charge as well. And these Lings aren't going to kill him. It delays it to 310. Taeja, you boss. I'm just so glad that the Terran players I play against on ladder don't do that to me, because I would be ragey as all get out. You want to get this down fast. You really want to get this 3rd down before 310. Anyway, Taeja's timings are fine. He's spending his money like a boss. We're working on Hellion harassment, which can be really, really good. I personally have died to just really incredible Hellion harassment over and over again. It's like I kill, like the Hellions show up, I kill all of them, 3 of my drones die, and I'm like, all right, we got this. And then another 8 Hellions show up, and I'm like, what? And I kill them, and then they're Blue Flame the next time, and then there's a couple Banshees, and I'm just like, rah! The hardest part of playing Zerg is the constant defense, and the hardest part of playing Terran is the constant offense. You don't do that, you die, and it makes life harder for Zergs, and that's the idea. Anyway, Overlord scouting in, seeing what's up, and the answer is pretty much a 3rd CC. So let's go ahead and maybe expand again. Got a couple Hellions out, but again, with these Queens up, just being aware that there are Queens here, spreading creep all over the place, trying to connect all 3 bases with creep to some extent. That tumor should probably be here if you're worried about that, but maybe this will reach out and connect at some point there. Anyway, it's a Liberator cruising on out. Liberators I'm not as worried about. Usually I get spores up around 4 minutes, which Armani has chosen entirely not to do, by the way. This will be harder to hold now that you don't have spores in any of your bases. What on earth makes you think you're not going to need spores? I mean, I guess the Overlord spread is pretty good, but you don't have vision on, well, you don't have vision on this, for example. And you don't quite have vision on the Hellions until they're right on top of you. And a couple tumors are going to die. Very nicely played by Taeja there. And then Liberator shows up and just sets up, and there's no Spore to help with this. And the Queen doesn't give alert that she's being hit until now. And then it's a very small window before she's dead, and a bunch of drones are going to die. And Armani, he's got to pull it. Now he's throwing down a Spore. Armani, no. That's why you make spores, you guys. They're safety spores. Even if you don't know what your opponent is up to, if you don't know they have the capability to kill you or not within the Liberator, that's a Queen down and 2 free drones, man. And all the lost mining time with the natural base, or the main base. That hurts. That hurts quite a bit. Armani really needs to go for a third. I mean, I've seen the timings for Serral. He's been late on that from time to time, where your opposing Terran player takes a really quick third base, and your fourth base is just not quite on par with it. And he's won games that way, and he's lost games that way. So I'm not going to tell you you have to expand fast if you see that quick third CC. But I don't know. I feel like you want to. You want to keep ahead economically with the Terran, right? Because if they're ahead economically, there we go. There's the fourth base. And then their units are also more cost efficient. You're just going to die. It is really simple mathematics. So Hellions cruising on again. They're not working on the blue flame, which tells me we're going to see a bunch of bio here out of Taeja here at about the 6 minute mark. And this game really does promise to be nuts at this stage. Taeja's going for those Marines, going for those medevacs, working on 1-1, working on a combat shield. Really should get a Baneling nest at some point if you're Armani, and he does with concussive or centrifugal hooks on the way, and a macro hatch inside the main. I need to do more macro hatches. I like them. I like macro hatches quite a bit. So yeah, we're at 68 workers if you're Armani. Taeja happily sitting at 62, which is a beautiful number for 6 minutes for a Terran player. I'm telling you, Taeja is getting closer and closer to being able to compete in these premier events. I would not be surprised to see him up there with Innovation and Maru and TY as just elite Terran players sooner rather than later. So Terran fans, look forward to that. We're Baneling dropping at the third base. If I had to guess, there's no anti-air here at all. None. I like this out of Armani. Reaction time from Taeja is nothing. 0% reaction time. I mean, that could have been a lot worse. 11 SCVs down on a completely unprotected base. The problem is you don't have any Banelings. Yes, you have some Banelings now at this fourth. And the stutter stepping is disgustingly good. And you have slow Banelings, and centrifugal hooks is almost done, but it's 12 seconds away, and that's an eternity. Oh gosh, that medevac, no, does end up going down. It wasn't full, but it was full enough to be a problem. Meanwhile, Hellions darting on in to the third base, but Armani was ready for that, and he does shut it down with some Lings, which is awesome. This drop in the main is still problematic, but the medevac was a little bit low on HP, and he had to get out of there. If these Queens weren't here, I think he just stays. But as it stands, well played. Well played indeed. Oh gosh, are they not A-moving? Move commanding Marine tank army gets backed up against a wall and murdered. Okay, so Armani looking good. Looking excellent here. Taeja throwing down a 4th CC. This is Terran these days, though, you guys. If they're not going for a super quick proxy or something, they know how to macro. They know their timings. Right? Look at this. Look at Taeja going for a 4th base at 8 minutes. That is a Zerg level timing. Oh, it's Mutalisks from Armani. I'm not a big fan of Mutalisks. I have seen players like Serral make it work. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but again, telling somebody that Serral made something work is not the same thing as endorsing it as a strategy in StarCraft 2. It just means he's capable of stupid, crazy things. Maybe not everybody is. I mean, even talking about Armani here, who I like a lot. Anyway, Muta's trying to do stuff, but there's already a billion Marines out. And, I mean, do we even need Thor production? Widow Mines, sure. Drilling Claws coming up. Armani's 5th base along the bottom left-hand corner is morphing in quite nicely. Working on 2-2 for the melee and the carapace. So we probably are going to see Ultras sooner rather than later, but I don't see an Infestation Pit. And no sign of a hive here from Armani. So going Ling Bling Muta. This feels like more of a Heart of the Swarm strategy, right? You kind of stick on, there we go, Ling Bling Muta for a while in the Heart of the Swarm expansion, and it was pretty good. Players like Scarlet used it a lot. She actually uses it to a pretty good extent sometime these days, too. But, yeah, Infestation Pit is now on the way from Armani, trying to get to that hive. Maybe a little bit later than he should, but, you know, trying to stay alive against pushes like this is better than trying to tech up to something real fast. That's something that I struggle with from time to time, too. Sometimes I'm like, well, I'm being left alone. Let's go to Ultras, and then a time attack shows up later than I thought it would show up, and I die. Map vision, guys. Got to have that map vision. The creep spread is really important for that. And, wow, are we really just going for this? The Mutas get right on top of this. The Banelings explode on the tanks a little bit. But the Mutas chasing these medevacs is really, really problematic. Additional Marines come in. There are a couple Banelings remaining. The stutter stepping is disgusting, though. out of Taeja. Widowmine, I don't think got a hit off, unfortunately. Trying to split the forces between both sides. The left side goes really well for Armani. Army supply 82 to 55. The Mutas have somehow stayed alive through all this. I thought for sure they were going to catch a Widowmine shot or just catch a bunch of Marines, target firing them down, but in the end, okay, 5 Mutas have died, which is maybe more than I thought had happened there, but still more and more Mutas in production. Armani hasn't killed a base yet, but he's really shut down Taeja's every attempt to kill any of these hatcheries, and really any more than a handful of the drones. 2 drones, again, that's it. That's all the drones that have died so far. Armani's been defending like an absolute beast. There's your hive timing at 10 minutes, and if you're going for a ton of Mutalisk, it does slow down your hive timing because you need the gas for other things. But yeah, the Widowmines are a problem. The Widowmines are such a problem for Zerg players. I'm surprised we don't see more Terran players use it, to be honest. They're good against Ultras, they're good against Broodlords, they're good against this strategy of Ling Bling Muta, they're good against Corruptors. I mean, I'm trying to think of a time when I thought Widowmines were a bad thing to make against Zerg, and I just can't think of one at all. And you're like, Falcon, how on earth is are Widowmines good against Broodlords? And the answer is, Broodlords are slow. You just run a bunch of Widowmines at them from a different direction than they're firing, right? Because that's hard to do. Burrow them underneath the Broodlords, and they get fired on, and they all die because splash damage. They clump up. They're not very tanky, and they can't run away because they're Broodlords and they're slow. So yeah, and against Ultras, they're nice because they ignore armor. Their attack is not a regular attack; it is a spell, effectively. So just like Storm, it ignores armor entirely, and so the Ultra's main benefit of having 1 billion armor doesn't matter. Anyway, Muta's flying into this natural base while Taeja's trying to set up for an attack, but this is not going particularly well. What a non-stop match this has been. There's been action on the map everywhere. Oh, the repair on these missile turrets has not been great. 12 SCVs down, 13 SCVs down. This is what I'm talking about. This is where Terran can take some hits, but until they're dead, they're not dead. Mutas decide not to go into the place where there are 3 missile turrets present. Fly out instead. Widowmine shots on a couple of these these Zerglings, rather. But that's okay. So again, I think Armani has control of this game. He's making an Ultralisk Cavern, which again, not a great fan of Ultralisks in ZVT in the current meta. But we'll see how this works out. It is a fairly Marine-heavy comp. There's a few Marauders in the mix. And there's a Thor, which is not bad if they can hit the Ultralisk while not getting cleaved in the face anyway. So both areas are maxed out. Army supply is a little bit bigger for Taeja. The worker count is a bit higher for Armani, which makes all the sense in the world considering how this game has gone to this point. Armani's trying to set up on this planetary with Lings and Banes, and this is just textbook. If you want to know how to take down a planetary, guys, that's it. Bunch of Lings and Banelings, get in there. You can take it down. You can usually get the SEVs too, but he kind of pulled back. Worried about something I don't know. Mutalisks trying to get in. Whoa, the repair on a Thor against Mutas is kind of stupidly good. I really like it a lot. 4 Ultras in production, working on chitinous plating, not going anabolic synthesis. Strangely enough, Taeja's taking another base, man. He lost the base, but he took another one in the process. I think he's okay. I don't think Taeja's in any kind of trouble right now. He's got a decent bank. He's pushing in onto creep, which is always a dicey situation. Some decent Baneling hits there, but nothing too insane. Taeja can afford those kind of hits. You don't want to lose your whole army, obviously, to Banelings, but a few units is fine. Clearing out creep tumors. Armani is going for a combination 6th and a 7th base right now. The 6 is under attack quite nicely, but it does get wiped out in the end. That Ultralisk, wrong place, wrong time, and yeah, Ultras are good, but by golly, that's anabolic synthesis. If they're alone against a ton of bio, they will die fast. They're not that good. It's like Thors, man. Thors are good tanky units that hit hard, but alone against the swarm, they die fast. I mean, I guess everything's that, right? Anyway, Ultra's jumping on top of these Thors. Baneling's trying to get hits. The Mutas are all dying, though. All the Mutas are gone. Ling's jumping on and reinforcing. The Thors don't want to stick around if there's Ultra Ling here. That is sort of their kryptonite. Widowmine gets a nice hit off. Army supply, 64 to 59. Bank is nothing for Armani right now. He's got 30 more Lings in production. He could probably wipe out this base if he knows that it exists, but he does not. Taeja, nice kiting here, trying to focus down whatever he can. And yeah, I think Taeja's okay. He didn't lose a base there. I mean, Armani didn't either. He double expanded, which is awesome. And he's going to have an incredible amount of income here. He already has more minerals and substantially more gas income than the Terran player. Armani now going for Broodlords. We've seen this recently. I think it was, I want to say, Rogue versus Innovation on the channel last week. or a while ago now, whatever it was. And yeah, Innovation was just like, I'm just going to do this mech thing with a lot of Thors and tanks and stuff, and you see what you can do. Anyway, Corruptors are out, which I'm a big fan of, called the Widow Mine Connections! The Widowmine connections are nuts, but Zerglings are still here. All the medevacs seem like they're mostly dead. There's 2 remaining on the field, which does not seem like it's enough. Marines attacking at that 6th base along the right side, or 7th base, whatever it is. I think that's a 7th. In fact, it is. A couple drones die, but otherwise, I think things are fine. Yeah, the Lings are 3-3, and the Ultras have full upgrades too. Taeja pushing in where he knows the army is not. And the 6th base is going to die. The army's not in position to save it. Armani's being very cautious before running up there, and it... Ow. Ow. Bit of some friendly fire there, Splash. Friendly fire splash there, which hurts quite a bit. Yeah, this game is bonkers. Both players have lost over 20,000 resources already in 15 minutes. 27 to 27,000, or 27 to 22,000 lost here. Armani's lost more, but he can afford to lose more because he's Zerg and he has more bases and he has more stuff and he can make it faster. And his units are faster too, which makes them squishier. That's the trade-offs. Das ist die trade-offs. Oh, I love the Infestor play too. So he's like, potentially Broodlords. I'm going to go for some Infestors. No Vipers though. Which, no, that's a, no, no. I mean, the Banelings were fine. They did some good stuff there, but the Ultras are dead. And Armani has to retreat. Like, do not attack up ramps like that. If there's a Terran army on top of it, even if there's not a Terran army there, it can be pretty scary. So be very careful. Meanwhile, Taeja's attempt at a 4th base is in trouble again. A bunch more SCVs die, and the base has to lift off against the Zerglings. Again, they are 3-3 Adrenalings, and they are extremely terrifying. Good gravy. Golly, Miss Molly. I wonder if we're going to see battle cruisers in this game. I don't think that we will. Not feeling like it. Infestors, though, I love a good Infestor versus Terran. A Fungal to slow these guys down and do a bit of damage and allow the Banelings more time to connect is so good. Gosh, Ultras, Banelings, Corruptors on the Medevacs. The Medevac's kind of standing in. It is not what you want to do here. But there's a lot of stuff on the ground here from Taeja. Ultralisk on the bottom side doing terrible damage to that Marine count, though. Just picked up about 11 kills and just a handful of swipes, it felt like. And the Ultras are dead. And the army supply is 66 for Taeja, but it's only 60 for Armani. This is an intense, intense game. All right, so we have some Fungals available on these Infestors. They've got Pathogen Glands, even if they're new, they have a Fungal available. And there we go, Fungal 1, Fungal 2, good chain Fungals there, and then the Medevacs can't run as well either. This is intense! These players are so neck and neck right now. So neck and neck. Is this base still dead? Yes, a Burrowling makes sure that base is still dead. The Infestors get caught out and killed, though. They tried to burrow and run, but a scan revealed them for what they were. More Banelings coming in. Just chase away and then pull back. Chase away, then pull back. Engage on creep. Armani says engaging on creep is for cowards and lesser wimps. I'm not doing that. Okay, the Banelings are here. But it's 86 to 66 army supply. Not enough energy for a Fungal. I don't think they're from Armani's Infestor. The Widowmine's doing work. Doing work here. Not doing huge amounts of work, but doing work nevertheless, and pushing the Terran army back as far as you can. To allow you time to breathe, to allow you time to rebuild things is always nice. Now, Taeja hasn't been able to get this thing come back and doesn't have the top right corner either, because there is creep being pooped over here, which is super frustratingly annoying. The army has to pull back to deal with that. This one Overlord just bought Armani like a minute of time, maybe. Just kidding. The command center is going to land here instead. Let's not worry about killing that Overlord. We don't have the time. So Armani, Lings, Banes, Ultralisks against a largely vile force here from Taeja. Ultralisk, just not enough here. The Fungals are really good, though. The Fungals are stupidly helping out here immensely. The Medevacs can't really heal with the Corruptors around. My gosh, the Medevac count. After this one dies, what is it? Is it 2? Yeah, it's 2 after that one goes down. I mean, we've done a fantastic job killing Medevacs if you're Armani here today. This game might as well get an epic tag. This has been non-stop back and forth. Both players have now lost over 30,000 resources and close to 40 for Taeja, 49,000 for Armani, trying to caustic spray down this command center, and then the Marines show up and chase the Corruptors away. So this income is really important for Taeja. He needs to hang on to it. Can Armani clear it out is the question. Armani expanding again along this left side. Every base except this top right has been taken in this game, which is nuts. In 20 minutes. In just 20 minutes. This has been an excellent match. It really, really has. Taeja back at home, non-stop producing stuff. Everything hotkeyed. He's trying to expand over this way with an orbital command, but again, hard to do with an overlord sitting there pooping creep on your favorite landing spot. Which has always been weird to me, right? Like, so what if there's an overlord pooping creep there? You can live with creep all over you if you let creep expand all over your building, right? What's the difference? I don't know. Maybe they need to land on the ground and connect to some series of... like a series of power or water connectors under the ground, maybe. Are there sewers in StarCraft? I assume that there are. So Army Supply 116 to 106. I mean, this is close. This is stupidly close right now. I like the composition that Taeja has versus the Ultralisks. The Widow Mines are great. The Marauders in the front are fantastic. If the Marauders can absorb the Baneling shots, that's always nice. Infestor, where were you going? Right into range of that missile turret is where you were going, I guess. Splits up. Don't engage off creep. And Taeja's doing such a great job dancing. Like, there's no need to engage on creep here. Baneling's on the Marauders. And sure, it does reduce the Marauder count, but it's just not all that efficient. Armani manages to get some Lings snuck on into the 3rd base and the natural base and is doing some work there. The worker count going down, but Armani does end up losing his 7th base over here. So we're doing a bit of a tit for tat here at 22 minutes. Oh, the Lings are killing units as they're coming out of the barracks, though. That's really bad. Ultras jumping on top of the forces down here. It's 90 to 75 army supply. It seems like maybe Armani has pulled this out. Maybe. There's still a lot of Terran remaining. But if this base gets pushed on, that's a problem. He still doesn't have this one because there's a Ling here. I mean, if Taeja loses this game, it's because he didn't replant this base and he never could take the top right-hand corner. It's a simplistic way to look at it, but I think it's pretty accurate. Poof. Goodbye, all of the Zerglings right there. 7 kills and 2 kills on those guys. And yeah, Taeja's down to effectively 2 mining bases. Whereas Armani's happily on 2, 3 of his own, it seems like. So it's an advantage. It's not an overwhelmingly insurmountable advantage here for Armani. Army supply about even once again. This is crazy. What are those Banelings exploding on? Nothing? Okay, good job not going up the ramp. Happy for you for that. Taeja trying to harass as best as he can, but Zerglings are on the spot. Oh, that top right-hand base does get landed, and there's a couple SCVs here, but then instantly Zerglings show up and those SCVs are dead. I mean, oh, another SCV joins the party. It's not a good party. Go. All right. Fair enough, I guess. Is this enough? Can Taeja actually hold here? He's got reinforcements coming in all the time. Planetary Fortress is going to help a lot, too. Suddenly, Taeja's down. Oh, these SCVs are coming in on their own accord and just getting killed here. He's at 52 workers, 47 army supply at 23 minutes, which is not where you want to be. And that's your good game, Armani. Armani gets the win. What a match. That was insanity. What a match. What a match. All right, Patreon people, let me know. Do you think that was an epic game? I know that the Zerg won. I get it. But the Zerg won with Ultralisks. Like, who's ever said Ultras are OP at this stage of the meta, right? I don't know. Maybe they are. Maybe they are. But Taeja's inability to get this base over here, all right, remember that? And the one on the top right, that killed him. Economically, that's how he died. He was doing everything else correctly. And he did end up killing a couple hatches here, too, which is nice. But only 5 drones down compared to 82 SCVs killed is a massive problem. 2 planetary fortresses down for the Terran player, in addition to all sorts of orbital commands forced to be lifted off. And sure, they were not dead, but they weren't providing any income for Taeja either. he really just didn't have, it seemed like, the spare attention to take those bases that a single Zergling, right, was blocking the landing of. That's something that innovation would have taken care of very quickly. Taeja's not quite back there yet, but he'll get there. He'll get there soon, I think. So Armani, not shabby. Not shabby work there, I gotta say. So at the end of the day, we're looking at another fantastic StarCraft 2 game. 61,000 resources lost for Armani in 23 minutes, and 52,000 resources lost for Taeja. Man, open up Mutalisk, go into Corruptors, Ultralisks, Infestors. Not a Viper to be found. Not a Broodlord to be found either. He had a Greater Spire. Yes, that's definitely a Greater Spire. And at the end of the day, that's it. So that's going to be it from me. This has been Falcon Paladin coming at you with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.